Alhambra. Completed towards the end of Muslim rule of Spain by Yusuf I, 1333 to 1353, and Muhammed, Sultan of Granada, 1353 to 1391, the Alhambra is a reflection of the culture of the last centuries of the Moorish rule of Al-Andalus, reduced to the Nasrid Emirate of Granada. It is a place where artists and intellectuals had taken refuge as the Reconquista by Spanish Christians won victories over Al-Andalus. The Alhambra integrates natural site qualities with constructed structures and gardens, and is a testament to Moorish culture in Spain and the skills of Muslim, Jewish, and Christian artisans, craftsmen, and builders of their era. The literal translation of Alhambra, the red, female, reflects the color of the red clay of the surroundings of which the fort is made. The buildings of the Alhambra were originally whitewashed, however, the buildings as seen today are reddish. Another possible origin of the name is the tribal designation of the Nasrid Dynasty, known as the Banu Al Arabic, Sons of the Red, male, a sub-tribe of the Qahtanite Banu Khazraj tribe. One of the early Nasrid ancestors was nicknamed Yusuf Al Ahmar, Yusuf the Red, and hence the Nasrid fraction of the Banu Khazraj took up the name of Banu Al Ahmar. The first reference to the Qahtanite Alhambra was during the battles between the Arabs and the Miladies, people of mixed Arab and European descent, during the rule of the Abdullah ibn Muhammad, r. 888 to 912. In one particularly fierce and bloody skirmish, the Miladies soundly defeated the Arabs, who were then forced to take shelter in a primitive red castle located in the province of Elvira, presently located in Granada. According to surviving documents from the era, the Red Castle was quite small, and its walls were not capable of deterring an army intent on conquering. The castle was then largely ignored until the 11th century, when its ruins were renovated and rebuilt by Samuel ibn Nagrala, vizier to the Emir Baidas bin Abbas of the Nasrid Dynasty of Al-Andalus, in an attempt to preserve the small Jewish settlement also located on the natural plateau, Sabika Hill. Ibn Nasr, the founder of the Nasrid dynasty, was forced to flee to Jaen to avoid persecution by King Ferdinand III of Castile and the Reconquista supporters working to end Spain's Moorish rule. After retreating to Granada, Ibn Nasr took up residence at the palace of Baidas bin Abbas in the Alhambra. A few months later, he embarked on the construction of a new Alhambra fit for the residence of a sultan. According to an Arab manuscript since published as the Anonimo de Granada y Copenhagen, this year, 1238 Abdallah ibn al-Ahmar climbed to the place called the Alhambra, inspected it, laid out the foundations of a castle and left someone in charge of its construction. The design included plans for 6 palaces, 5 of which were grouped in the northeast quadrant forming a royal quarter, 2 circuit towers, and numerous bathhouses. During the reign of the Nasrid dynasty, the Alhambra was transformed into a Palatine city, complete with an irrigation system composed of acequias for the gardens of the general life located outside the fortress. Previously, the old Alhambra structure had been dependent upon rainwater collected from a cistern and from what could be brought up from the Al Basin. The creation of the Sultan's Canal solidified the identity of the Alhambra as a palace city rather than a defensive and ascetic structure. The Muslim ruler Muhammad XII of Granada surrendered the Emirate of Granada in 1492 without the Alhambra itself being attacked when the forces of the Reyes Católicos, King Ferdinand II of Aragon and Queen Isabella I of Castile, took the surrounding territory with the force of overwhelming numbers. The decoration within the palaces comes from the last great period of Andalusian art in Granada. With little of the Byzantine influence of contemporary Abbasid architecture, artists endlessly reproduced the same forms and trends, creating a new style that developed over the course of the Nasrid dynasty. The Nasrids used freely all the stylistic elements that had been created and developed during 8 centuries of Muslim rule in the peninsula, including the Caliphate horseshoe arch, the Almohad Sebka, a grid of rhombuses, the Umravid bomb, and unique combinations of them, as well as innovations such as stilted arches and macarnas, stalactite ceiling decorations. Structurally, the design is simple and does not evince significant innovation. While artistically pleasing, it was until the Reconquest structurally ad hoc and reliant on the skills of subject artisans and workers. Columns and macanas appear in several chambers, and the interiors of numerous palaces are decorated with arabesques and calligraphy. The arabesques of the interior are ascribed to, among other sultans, Yusuf I, Muhammad V, and Ismail I, Sultan of Granada. After the Christian conquest of the city in 1492, the conquerors began to alter the Alhambra. The open work was filled up with whitewash, the painting and gilding effaced, and the furniture soiled, torn, or removed. Charles I, 1516 to 1556, rebuilt portions in the Renaissance style of the period and destroyed the greater part of the Winter Palace to make room for a Renaissance-style structure which was never completed. Philip V, 1700 to 1746, Italianized the rooms and completed his palace in the middle of what had been the Moorish building. He had partitions constructed which blocked up whole apartments. Over subsequent centuries the Moorish art was further damaged, and in 1812 some of the towers were destroyed by the French under Count Sebastiani. In 1821, an earthquake caused further damage. Restoration work was undertaken in 1828 by the architect José Contreras, endowed in 1830 by Ferdinand VII. After the death of Contreras in 1847, it was continued with fair success by his son Raphael, died 1890, and his grandson. Especially notable was the intervention of Leopoldo Torres Belbas in the 1930s. The young architect opened arcades that had been walled up, re-excavated built-in pools, replaced missing tiles, completed inscriptions that lacked portions of their stucco lettering, and installed a ceiling in the still unfinished palace of Charles V.